Who could tell me the first four moves that you do that we just went over last week? And split squat. Good. All right. So this one we're going to go over active straight leg raise, front plank, reverse plank, side planks. Those are going to be the last four. If we have time, I do want to discuss the 10-minute Airdyne bike a bit. So that's where we're going to go. Any questions before we move on to any questions come up about the first four? You guys feel pretty confident with it? Cool. These last four, I think are the most important when it comes to evaluating someone's fitness. Somebody tell me, like, what's the main function of the core? Your core, your head's cut off, your arms cut off, your legs are cut off. That's your core. What's the main function of that part of your body? To stabilize, right? Can it move as a prime mover? Yeah, right. GHD sit-ups, back extensions, blah blah blah, right? So it can move as a prime mover, but its primal function or its prime function is to stabilize the core. And then everything so here's why I think it's the most important. If someone's core is lacking, something in all their other movement patterns is going to lack a result, or they're not going to be able to have that foundation to be able to peak out what their potential is in those other movement patterns, right? So that's why core is so essential, and is also, if you notice, kind of why there's several elements to assessing the core in this assessment process that we're going into. So now I say that to also say that as you're assessing folks, right, and we see it often. Probably, I'd say, well, I don't know, 80% of the time, people aren't passing their side plank. Is that about accurate? Maybe 96%, right? But it's often, right? You're often seeing, wow, these people don't have the strength endurance to stabilize their core in the side plank for that long, right? For 90 seconds. And so the conversation, if you're not having it, I encourage you to start having it, to just encourage them to really focus on that core and that assessment of 90 seconds, and then celebrate the heck out of them when they get it. And because you have already explained that because you're building the foundation in your core, it's going to impact all of your movement patterns throughout the day, right? And you can educate them a little bit about, hey, you know, one, don't be sad about your failing your side plank. Most people do. Most people we do. Why is that? Well, we live in a society that has a cancer of sitting, right? And they're at a desk all day, right? So it makes sense that most people's cores aren't there. So anyways, highlight that aspect of their fitness program and their training, and really then get after it, and then celebrate those wins with the side plank, front plank, reverse plank. Sound cool? All right. Active straight leg raise. So we're going to go down. Any volunteers? Not Taylor. Brady. So what you're going to do is you're going to have the, wait, did we go over this? No. We didn't. Okay, we didn't get to it. Lay down on your back.
I did a lunge.
Gotcha. That's right. So he's going to lay down flat on his back. We're going to set up with our arms at the hips and then 6 inches off the hips. Okay, palms are going to be up. Everything else is nice and relaxed. Feet are going to be together, and you're going to instruct the person to draw their toes in actively. I always ask the question, do you feel how your legs are active right now? Okay, throughout the entirety of this assessment, I want you to remain active in both legs as you do this. Does that make sense? All right. What you're going to do is I'm going to have you pull one leg at a time, nice and slow. We want to do 3 reps per side, okay, while maintaining that toe being pulled to your shins the whole time. Go ahead. Yep. Good. This is a side view assessment, right? So I'm here. I'm checking it out. Cool. You can, and I would love to see this, is y'all grab a PVC pipe and stick it right here by his knee, right? Making sure that heel passes, okay? Right by that knee. That's where we want to be for a passing grade there. Okay, ideally, we want to see, now my toe is here. That's ideally where we want to be. Brady's right there at it. Does he have room to improve? Is he at 90? Not quite, but he's hitting that mid-thigh. Okay, that mid femur is where you want to be. If his heel just passes that mid femur position, pretty good. Okay. As you're looking at it from the side, I like to get to the 45 or even on the head here, just for quickly as they're going through it. I'm looking for any rotations of the toe, any kind of right to left asymmetry, obviously, right? Because that's the number one thing we're looking for. We're looking for asymmetry. We're looking for symmetry, but you're seeing if is it same right and left, right? But we also want to see, is there any compensation happening throughout the body as he's pulling? So go ahead and pull your right leg again, nice and slow for me. And I'm just looking, and he turns that toe out, I can see it. Now, sometimes you might have where people are setting up and their toes are kind of out. If you can just tell them, hey, get your toes to the ceiling, right? and then draw your toes in, and then keep them there, then perform. And as they come up, they get about halfway, then they turn out to get further. And you'll see, no, bottom leg turns out, yeah. To get that leg further is often what you see. Sometimes you might see it on the top of the leg too, but you want to just note those compensations as they're pulling through. Okay, another one, they might bend at the knee, right? So they get there, they really want to get further, their bottom leg comes up, or they have a bent knee here. So be on the lookout for that. Okay. Sometimes you may see, I see this a lot less often, but you might see some head movement happening, some lifting of the head to get there, kind of thing. Okay, it's a little exaggerated, but you might see some of that stuff. So is the head lifting off? Okay, and just make a note of those compensations. Now, sometimes you may see something compensate. Okay, but you may have to get them to do some extra reps, which is, by the way, okay. We say 3 reps, but do you have to stay at 3? No. If you need to see some more, right? Here's the PVC pipe. I've got it here. Now I'm watching. I noticed on a couple of reps his toe turns out, but now he's gone past the heel. But let's just say that he's right here. His toe's still good. Everything's looking looking good in terms of compensation. But he begins to compensate right about at this point. He tries to go past this point, and he's really starting to compensate. Right? I would make a note of that. I'd actually pass that. Right, but make a note that after he passed the knee, there was further compensation happening. Okay, and all that just letting me know is that, hey, we still want to work on that posterior chain mobility there, right? So we might program in some active straight leg raises or some band assisted hamstring stuff or some PNF there or whatever, right? Because there is a slight I would call that a slight priority. It's not a heavy priority; it's a slight priority that needs to be addressed to improve upon that. Does that make sense? Brady, Carly, anything I left out that you noticed? Feel pretty good about that? Anybody questions on that?
Still asking where do they feel it?
Yep, great, Brady. Yeah. How'd you feel there? Where'd you feel that? Oh, I felt tighter. I felt it in my hamstring on my right side, or I felt it in my calf, right? Or I felt it in my erector, my spine, my lower back.
Yeah. You can also feel it in your hip flexor too.
And hip flexor, yeah. My hip flexor's pinching. Oh, really? What is it, pinching on both sides? No, just on my right. Ah, okay. That's information for you.
I had a guy turn his in the other day, which I'd never seen before.
Yeah.
He turned both of them in like this.
Is he pigeon-toed?
I don't think so. I didn't notice that. Normally I notice it.
Yeah. Some people pigeon-toed. So you be mindful of that. They could have instability in the hip. Right? It turns in that action.
That's something we can work on with somebody if they want that.
Pigeon-toed?
If they want their
Yeah, I mean you can. So they're naturally going to go there, but can you turn them straight? Yeah. 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 I really like it when people have, like, you'll see some of this stuff too, right? I like to try to it's the same idea with, like, switching up your grip on pull-ups brings a lot of value to your pull strength, right? If you can fix your feet position from what you're normally used to, right, in certain times, then it can be helpful. I did this with Emily in her program. She's very wide squatter, but I said we're going to go narrow. We're going to develop, and you felt yourself starting to open up, right? It challenged her a little bit differently by bringing her into some narrow squats. Now, I didn't do it flat-footed. I put her in cyclist, so it's a little bit more smoother for her there. But it brought value to her, I think, her whole system as a result of doing that. So, cool. All right, active straight leg raise. We're cool? All right, let's go into front plank. Christy, you want to do front plank? Yeah. But you will? I like it. All right, so what you're going to have is you're going to have them instruct them to go, and this is important, is to instruct to start in a quadruped position. So hands and knees. Don't use that term with people either, by the way.
What do you say?
Just say, go on your hands and knees for me, right? If you're dealing with a doctor or a physical therapist or somebody that kind of has that education and background, you want to use those terms, sure, right? They'll know what quadruped means, right? But most people are gonna be like, "Would you just call me an insect?" You know what I mean?
Has anyone ever said
No, I've had some people go, "Is that like an insect? What is that?
that?
Like a centipede or whatever? What do you want? Quadruped?" Anyways, but hands and knees, okay, and then you're gonna instruct them that you want I want your palms directly underneath your shoulders, your knees directly underneath your hips. That's pretty good, okay. And what I want you to do is I want you to first brace your core. Your head is good. I want you to keep it in that neutral position that you have it in right now through the entirety of this. And what I want you to do is I want you to brace your core and then protract your shoulders by just pushing up on my hand for me. Keep going with your shoulders. Keep going. Y'all see it? Keep going. There we go. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
That's protracted. I want you to keep that the entire time of this assessment, okay? All right, core remains braced. Now I want you to take one leg at a time back to where you're in a push-up position. I want you to drive through the ground with your palms and your feet, okay? There she is. She's nice and tight. Now the clock has started, okay? I want you to maintain that. We're going to try to go that for 60 seconds. What you're looking for here, you're looking for maintaining of this, what we just created, protraction. But you're also wanting to see, and this usually happens around 30 seconds or so, you might see one of this side right here, lose protraction on one side or the other. So you're looking for right to left symmetry here, okay? And it often happens right in here when they start getting tired, or it'll happen here in the hip. One hip will start to drop a little bit, right? If they lack she's solid, but so you're not seeing it, but you can start to see it when they start to lose it here. You'll see this little movement happening. So be on the lookout for that. And then then you want to make sure that the final thing is that can she keep great form, so ankled all the way to shoulder, straight line for 60 seconds. Great form, right? In other words, does she own it? Is there a struggle and things are starting to happen and it's at 45, but she's still kind of strong there, right? But you start to see some things happening. Is she owning it? That's a no, right? Like you want to make sure that they own this position. It's great form throughout, and that's what you're seeing here is great form. And then it's probably been about a minute, so you want to relax. There you go. Good job. Good job. Okay, those three things: protraction, right to left symmetry, great form for 60 seconds. And great means they own it. There's nothing happening in the protraction. There's nothing happening in the hips. It's solid. Okay. And do y'all know what I mean by that? Y'all have seen that in the front plank? Like they kind of held it, but it was like, you know what I mean? And if that's the case, fail it. Huh? Right. Oh, their butt starts going up. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing that can happen. Their butt will go up. All right, and what's happening there when they're doing that? Yeah, they're coming out of the intensity because they can't hold it.
Sometimes it's
They're
not
compensating.
clear for me because I feel like I learned we're supposed to do the plank is almost the reverse of the hold, the hollow hold.
Mm-hmm.
So like you would have some kind of like hip action, like front raise, right?
No,
like
you
would have like your hips would be kind of.
no, you would be posteriorly rotated. So not anteriorly. You wouldn't be your posterior tilt, not anterior tilt.
Okay.
When your butt is up, I'm anteriorly tilted. Right. So hollow, I'm posteriorly tilted in my pelvic.
Okay.
So that's what you should see in that. Right. Good. Any questions there? Thoughts? Did I miss anything? Did y'all see? Cool.
Some people will like dip their hips. Dip your hips. People do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You say lift your hips a little. Like, what's the best cue for that? Lift your hips.
Yeah. I mean, what you want to instruct them very well in the front. Like you don't want anything moving. Everything's from ankle to shoulder is in alignment and it's solid, right? And then in the first 5 seconds of their assessment, you're saying yes, right there. Don't move. Keep it. Okay. Say something like that. And then if they start to drop the hips, then you just say, okay, that's good. Don't coach them. Yeah, if they own it and it's great form, they own it. They'll own it. If they're starting to drop and compensate, there's a core weakness.
Okay, we just take note of that when we don't say put your hips down, put your hips up, if they're like 35 seconds in.
Yep, and you could say so. You want to say, I want you to. The terminology here is in the assessment. Hey, Christy, I want you to hold this for as long as you're able, or until I tell you to stop. Is that good? Okay. right? Or until I tell you to stop. So now they get, their hips drop. You're looking at the clock. It's 27 seconds. Okay, that's good. Thank you. All right, there's no need right now to dig into it. Yep. No.
What if they're able to correct it when you say put your hips back down, they go right back into it?
There's still yeah. There was a reason they did that, right?
Mental break, like they can't mentally handle that they can go anymore. I've seen some that are like, I can't go anymore, just that, fight.
Yeah. Yeah, but still, I mean, again, can they hold great form for 60 seconds? Can they own it? That means mentally, physically, everything, right? So now when you reassess, you want to give that cheerleading and that little bit of that kind of stuff, sure. Maybe have the talk ahead of time. Hey, when it starts to get difficult for you mentally, try to go another 5-10 seconds. Like your body will do it. Like I do that kind of coaching in their reassessment to help them, right? But you want to know when you're assessing, you're not coaching. You're purely going to see what is this person capable of doing, right? Without any outside, feedback. Cool. All right.
And I think making sure they're breathing too. A lot of times you'll see people just hold their breath.
Yeah.
To brace their core.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Now that's a note to take though. What does that give you? What kind of information does that give you as a coach if they're sitting there, they're doing a plank and they're just beat red in the face, they're not breathing at all? What does that tell you? Yeah, they lack experience, right? They lack experience in fitness, right? Can that be coached on later? Absolutely. I was just talking with who is it from this gym, Prescott. Prescott came to me and just gave really great feedback about being here as a member. But part of his feedback was that the coaches were helping me on my breathing and my squats, and like I didn't recognize it. And now I know it, and I started practicing it, and his squat went up like 25% or 30% or something crazy.
And he didn't have knee pain.
Yeah, and he didn't have knee pain. Yeah, because he was breathing properly in the squat, right? So, yeah, I mean, but you want it on the front end in the assessment, that all that stuff, you're looking for that kind of stuff to go, where is this individual at truly in their awareness of fitness and their motor control, and how they handle their body under duress, right? That's what you're looking for, and you're asking always, how are they handling themselves under duress? What kind of strategy are they making for themselves, right? What are they doing what's the strategy if they're holding their breath? Yeah, they lack motor control and strength, and they feel like in their mind they feel like they have to hold their breath to hold it, right? Because they don't have the confidence and the ability in their core strength to stabilize and handle that scenario they're in, right? So that's a very important kind of tidbit there that you can gather, right? Reverse planks. Tay, you want to do it? So on the reverse plank, you're going to have somebody, you're just going to instruct them, hey, I want you to sit up on your butt with your feet straight out. Feet are together, heels are together. And then you're going to take your hands back behind your body, fingertips away. And I want you to be just past your shoulders, which is about where you are. That's good. Yep. And from there, I want you to retract your shoulders as hard as you can. Yep. Lifting your chest. And then from there, for this assessment, we're going to go for as long as you're able or until I tell you to stop. And I want you to initiate this, I want you to drive into the heels and into the palms at the same time, lifting your hips to where they're in line with your ankles and your shoulders. And then I want you to maintain that for as long as you're able. Does that sound good? All right. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and press into the ground. Good. All right. And that's what we're seeing. Okay. Now I'm looking around. I'm looking at the side predominantly because I want to see anything that happens here in the hips. Is she able to maintain that rigid line? But again, I'm looking for symmetry. But before that, I'm looking for, can she maintain retraction? Okay. So I'm looking here, and I'm looking for any kind of movement here happening internal rotation wise, because if it's internally rotating here, she's losing that retraction, right? So I'm just keeping my eyes here, looking for any kind of symmetry. I'm looking for any right hip drop, left hip drop, right toe goes out, left toe goes out. There's a lot of things that can happen there. So you're just looking throughout the body, what begins to happen, right? I'll come to the side, right? And because I set her up good, now notice she's directly underneath her shoulders there with her arms. Y'all see that? There might be a slight angle, but it's not bad. This is a good position. Okay, and she's held them pretty well. You're starting to work, aren't you?
And my elbows.
Elbows. Good. And so that'll be some feedback that you might be able to get after assessment's done. Y'all think that's been about a minute? Probably getting close, right? But she looks pretty solid. There might be some adjustments, like I saw like a little bit of adjustment there. That's okay. But she's still pretty much rigid throughout, right? And then she can relax. Good. Good job. So, yep. So again, setup, making sure. The biggest fault that I see on the setup is people are palms are directly underneath the shoulders, right? I'm actually going to talk to Carl about that because it's actually it's written in the packet. I don't know if y'all saw that. I just don't like. I'll show you. Put your hands underneath your shoulders. Now watch what happens. Drive in. You see it?
Can't go up.
Yeah, it's very difficult and it's angled, right? So it has to be slight. It does also say slightly behind shoulders, right? I think I've seen it correct on almost all body types that it needs to be slightly behind shoulders. So just make a note of that. Slightly behind shoulders. It'll when they rise, it'll be in a good position. Okay. Yeah.
Question for everybody's brain. I've had actually a handful of people who set up, and I pointed out with fingers pointing towards their butt, and I said, "Hey, make sure your hands are turned away." And I can't feel it in my glutes if my hands are away. Something. Yeah.
That's what the point of it.
Well, you are actually squeezing, but yeah, but I don't know. They can't like gauge things correctly. So weird. So.
That's above my pay grade. I think. I don't know. Yeah. I just.
Tell people to retract their shoulders when they push up or when they push up.
No, I tell them to retract first and then drive through. Yeah. Yeah. You want them retracting. That's the main purpose is to see can they maintain retraction, right?
So how would you see that? This might be loud.
I think that internal rotation that it puts them in causes them to have more focus on the hips. You externally rotate it puts more focus in the shoulders. But I don't. But
You actually can't retract.
yeah. But again, you see how it puts the force into the hips?
You're more limited in your range.
Yeah, so you have to work more in the hip to get there, right? So you're going to feel your butt more. But again, that's not the purpose of the assessment. Purpose of the assessment is external retraction, which is external rotation of the shoulders, right? So
if they're not wearing like a tank top or a tight shirt, how are you seeing shoulder retraction?
if they're not, you'll on most shirts you can see, and that's why I told you to look at the shoulders, because if they're fully retracted, you're going to see the shoulder at one point. At any moment they start to come in, you're going to see that movement happening, right? And so if you can really keep your eyes locked in on both their shoulder joints, right, you'll see that movement occur. Yeah, you'll see a lot lose, but it's immediate. The first thing that's moving is the shoulders, right? That's okay. That's fine. So don't instruct their toes. Let them go where they go. What needs to happen though is make sure that they are driving through the hills. Yeah. Again, not the purpose. The purpose is here.
So is it an automatic fail if they get retracted?
Yep. Yeah, if they can't hold that retraction. Some people are really like just locked up, right? And you'll be like, get there, and they're like, that's it. And they're still caved in the chest a bit. But if that's it, okay, do the assessment, see how they do there, right? And then look for it to go further. Right? You might not get people that can really get it open. Like she has a lot of movement in her shoulder range, right? So you really see it there. With some people, you won't see much, but you'll see some. Good. All right. Thoughts, questions on? We're good there. Beautiful. Again, and then to what Brady said is like I would say, Taylor, how'd that feel? She'd be like, oh, I really felt it at my elbows, right? Yeah, elbows. A lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure on the elbows.
A way to
They can't get all the way back.
Yep.
Get a traction.
Yeah.
or if you're already
Yeah.
you can like slightly bend and it actually helps. You
Yep.
activate like your biceps more.
Yeah. Side plank. You want to do it?
90 seconds. Let's see it. Put the timer on.
Stick on your elbow.
Yeah. So this one is predominantly core focused, right? This is a static core assessment. We want to see, can they statically hold, and people go, well, why 90 seconds versus 60 seconds, right? Well, because of the fact that it is focused on the core. We want to, that 90 seconds lets us know, are they truly able to stabilize the spine, right, for that amount of time. You set up with the elbow. I tell people to stack your feet, good. And then drive your hips forward in the start. Well, head, don't come up yet. Good. In the elbow, I want y'all to see this. So this elbow, if you slant it in just a touch, okay? When she comes up, it'll be directly underneath the shoulder. You see it? Okay? So when you're setting them up, say, hey, I want you, and if you have to go down, sometimes I have to go down just a little bit more, and they'll stick it in, right? And then once I feel like they're good, I want you to drive through your elbow and through your foot and the heel, raising to where you're in line with your shoulders and your ankles, and then drive your hips forward. And I don't want any rotation of the body happening here, right? So no compensation. The hand can hang out there, or it can go overhead. So bring your hand up overhead here. It could be there as well. That's cool, right? And then you're just looking for that rigid line through ankle all the way to shoulder, and you're looking for any kind of compensation happening in the rotational part of the body. So the hips here, you might see some, rotate your hips back for me. Other way. Yeah, just kind of drop them towards me. There you go. You see that? That begins to happen. You'll see some of that stuff. You'll see dropping of the hips, so dropping down to the ground. That you'll see that. You're seeing weakness there. Yeah, and then you'll see the final one is right there. Yep, in the torso. That's a big, those three are probably the most common parts of compensation. Another one, what will happen is the feet will start to try to compensate, and they'll kind of start to come off, or you'll see them trying to like take your foot off to the, like where they're starting to, doing this number. Now that's asymmetry, because I am looking for left to right symmetry. And you'll see one leg bend and trying to support this position, right? So those are all very common faults that you'll see in this assessment. Again, 90 seconds of great form. Do they own it, right? The whole 90 seconds. Cool. And go ahead and relax. Yes, palm is up. Why?
But you can't dig into the ground.
Exactly. Compensation. Yep. Yep. Palm up.
You can't use your hand to compensate.
Palm up forces it to be through the elbow and into the core. When you put your hand down, you get an extra little brace.
What's your
Right. You also get a transverse plane bracing happening when you put palm down. So the ability, when you rotate, if you have that palm there, it'll keep you from rotating, right? You put palm up, that's when that rotation starts to happen, because they lack stability. What are we assessing? We're assessing core stability. That's why it's so important to have the palm up.
Widens your base of support when you're palming.
Say again?
It widens
Your base of support. Yep. We're taking that away, because we want to see, can their core really truly stabilize. Right.
If it wasn't an assessment and you wanted to cue them, how would you cue the shoulder back?
Yep, just hey, yep, pull your shoulder up, broaden your chest, open your chest, yep, broaden your shoulder up. Try to get your shoulders 90 degrees. Try to get your shoulders vertical to the sky. Those are all good terms to use. Sometimes tactical. Yeah, pull this back a little bit. Okay, good, hold right there. So get in there and, hey, can I touch you on your shoulder? Yeah, you can do it. Okay.
What about people that like their calves are just on the ground and they can't really not have their calves touch?
Yeah, and I've seen that. Yeah, and you got to get down there, because sometimes it's like their hairs are touching, right? They're just bigger bodied people typically, and their hairs are touching, and that's one thing, But if they're like flat, yeah, their tibia is fully on the ground, then you just make a note of that and stop the assessment. Like, oh, that's good. Yeah, because I've seen people start there, and we train them, we get their core stronger, we help them lose weight, and then now they're able to hold it off the ground.
Right.
So.
Did you go into modified?
Not for the assessment. No.
Sometimes.
Now for the training, absolutely. Go to modified.
Sometimes I'm in a modified, so they don't feel big.
Wait,
Like they could feel feel really discouraged if they can't even. They're like, I can't even get up. And you're like, oh, that's all right. Just tuck your legs behind you. Let's do modified side plank, just to like kind of bolster.
Sure.
But I put zero. They still fail the side plank.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, or,
Absolutely.
like, if they just can't move, like
Yeah.
I feel really bad.
Yeah, that's
Let's get you some confidence.
I'm like an 8-year-old woman.
How do you talk her through it?
yeah.
The same exact.
Yeah.
You would still be here. Like,
Yeah,
in
just go 90.
alignment.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it cuts off the lever, making it easier. You can also change the vector, right? So you can get them to come up on a box. If you change the vector, it's also going to release pressure. So feel free to do that. I mean, it's like an 80-year-old, like this, for an 80-year-old, that could be an incredible amount of core work that they're doing right there, right? I've just changed the vector. I'm not even on my elbow. Could you do it from your elbow? Absolutely. Yeah, I could come there. Am I perfect alignment here? No, right? But it's okay. Like you can get some work. I'm working here, and for an 80-year-old, that might be really working, right? So think of like vector and then cutting levers. Cutting levers and changing your vector when it comes to body weight stuff will change the pressure that's applied to the body. So good. All right.
Thing with planks, like on the wall and stuff like that. Like doing elevated planks and stuff like that.
Yeah. You mean like, yeah, making it harder? Yeah. 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 And I mean, yeah. And then, instability stuff, right? Doing a plank on a Bosu ball, right? It's gonna be difficult. Or a medicine ball, having their feet up, y'all try that. Doing it from a ring, right? Try that. It's like if you want to take it advanced and you still want people to get strong, kind of progress their isometric training for their core, right? Get them for an advanced individual, it's always get them under a more unstable environment. Like keep trying to create unstable environment for them in that, and then having them destabilize in that unstable environment is how you progress it northward. Yeah, towards peak. All right, that's it. Those are the 4. Any questions? Yeah, we got 15 minutes. Let's do air bike. Who wants to do an air bike test right now? 10 minutes.
Gabby.
I already
Gabby.
biked for 22 minutes
Gabby's
today.
done this
Thanks,
one out of all
though.
of us.
Thanks. Who likes the bike?
Carly, you ready?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'll take the phone.
Brady, you ready?
Yeah, make Brady do it. He's the one who wants to
Brady.
So I'd throw up.
Brady. Anybody want to do a 10-minute bike test right now?
I did it yesterday.
Did it yesterday? Anybody?
I literally would throw up.
Y'all don't like the 10-minute bike test, huh? Oh yeah, I don't want you to do it.
Oh, you do it.
Oh, I knew y'all were gonna. Y'all want me to do it? I was gonna coach it.
I'll do it. It'll be
You all right?
Yeah.
Can we do it with you?
okay. How's that gonna work?
I'm on that one. You're on this one.
We're gonna coach. I'd rather do it by myself.
Here's the deal. I mean, it's a quick. You want me to do it with you for real?
It'll be fun.
All right.
You guys look like not twins, but like
Twinskies.
It's like yeah.
Same height.
Yeah.
Same melanin. Mine's darker melanin. I got Puerto Rican in me. Yeah. Yeah, I got Puerto Rican. I got about 1/8 Puerto Rican. My granddad Camacho. Pop Camacho is Puerto Rican.
I like the name.
Camacho.
That would probably.
Puerto Rico.
Okay. Can we go ahead and start this?
Yeah, you ready? All right. So, big thing is like setting up their target time. Ooh.
Very important.
Yeah, because you want it to stop, right, and get the true average watts and RPMs. And so if you don't set that time up, you're not going to get that. And it's not going to be accurate. And you want it to be very repeatable. So every time they're doing it this way. So in coach's note, if you guys are reassessing people and they're doing their 10-minute bike retest, in the coach's note, in bold, make sure they see it. Set that 10-minute clock using target time. If you need help, get a coach on the floor to help you, right?
This is not it.
You should have left the other one.
Yeah, I think
That's my favorite one.
Um, the target time? Oh, that's I need to fix that. Yeah, we have to get a new monitor for that one.
Even when you do the reset thing?
Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
Because you need to hold reset for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, it still doesn't do it. So on the first assessment, if this was Brady's first ever assessment, I'm not saying much other than, hey, the purpose of this is to get as many calories as you possibly can in 10 minutes. I'm going to be over your shoulder just observing how you do. That's literally all you're telling them. While he's doing it, if it's his first time, you're not coaching him. You're not, hey, give me a little bit more, none of that. You're just watching. Because you really learn a lot about how do they deal with that 10 minutes, right? If they are able to come out hard and then maintain that hardness throughout the entire 10-minute event and maybe even spike a little bit at the end, they have an advanced aerobic engine, right? That plus you take how many calories they have based on their body weight, right? Very advanced individual on this bike can do however much they weigh in calories, right? So like I'm 195, I should be able to do 195 calories. Yeah, that's very advanced. Yeah, very advanced on that bike. So average is inside of our we have an air bike calculator, right? Average is the 2 to 300. Above 300 is more advanced. 1 to 200 is beginner. So think beginner, kind of intermediate, advanced on the calculator. 1 to 200 beginner, 200 to 300 intermediate, 300 plus advanced. Yeah. On the differential. No. On the differential, it's based on your body weight and it's based on body weight and how many calories you get.
If you put it inside of Coach RX, you put calories and then it does a score.
It'll automatically do it for you. Yeah. If you have OPEX body filled out, it'll automatically do it for you. Yeah. It's a conversion. Yeah. Yep. All right. But now, if this was Brady's second time, okay, what you do as a coach in their assessment is you look at their first time, say they did 80 calories, right? Then you give a little coaching. Hey, you're reassessing. Last time you did 80 calories. If you get like 85, 90 calories today, that's a huge win. So you could look at maybe, 8 to 9 calories per minute is probably a good pace that you could shoot for. You see what I just did there? So I gave them something that they can take up and down into each minute of this effort, and now they have a goal. It does two things. One, it really helps. Even when I do this bike, in my mind, I'm only getting to the next minute. Like I'm trying to find something to get on, and I'm going to try to get to the next minute. And I get to the next minute, and so on. And I break it down into 10 sets of 1 minute, essentially, right? So I just give a little coaching of that, and typically I see a lot of wins with that, right? And if I see, they're trying to maintain, they come out the heat, and they're doing, I said 8 to 9 calories, and they're doing 10, 11, and they still look like they're good. I might coach them in the middle of it and say, if you can hold that 10 or 11, do it. Now I've just, in the midst of it, I've readjusted their goal per minute, right? And you'll start to see you'll find out where people are and what they can maintain. So feel free to coach in that second assessment all day long. All right. Let's all watch Brady do this. Yeah, seat height, sorry. So seat height is going to be two things to do here. You could come up to it right at that waistline where the seat is about right. The heel, if the heel is into the pedal, so if I'm in, right, I'm on my seat, and I've got my heel in, and I've got a nice straight or slightly bent angle here, that's a good spot with the heel, okay? And then I can bring back. Then from there, you want to make sure that your seat away from it here, parallel bars, that you still have somewhat of a slight bend here in the elbow, and while sitting up tall and vertical with that torso. Okay, and so I want to be able to push through this like this, nice and tall. I don't want to be hunched over. It's a terrible position, right? So I want to be up and strong, driving through. This to me is a good height, right? Where are you at, Brady? Okay. So, anyways, that's the setup. You ready for this? All right.
Ready as I'll ever be.
All right. And 3, 2, 1, let's go. Go ahead.
No, you have to start.
I was going to get you going. There we go, B. All right, so what I'm doing, right, first assessment, I'm just hanging out here. I'm taking a note on my notepad or on Coach RX under the notes. I'm just looking at RPMs right now. Right now he's at 65. Came out the gate, he went to about 68, but he's back down to 65. I'm looking at what happens within the first minute. And I'm just writing minute 10 to 9. I'll write where he's at in his RPMs. So he dipped down to 63 a little bit. He's got about, I'll have a whiteboard. I'll just write on here 10 to 9. All right, and he's looking good. He's pushing in. He's at a minute, coming up on a minute. He dipped a little bit to 63, so what I would write is 63 to 65 right here. All right, now he's on to the next minute, and I'm just continuing to watch those RPMs, looking at it every minute. What happens as he's breaking it down. I'm not talking to him or saying this that I'm doing that. I'm just doing it. Because at the end, I'll go through it with him, and people really kind of like, oh, that's cool to see how your pace does, right? With intermediates, what will happen often, you'll see them come out kind of strong, right? And their curve, when you look at this RPM here, you'll see the curve. If this is RPMs, right here, you'll see it kind of come like this, come down, even out, and then they spike out at the end, right? Common, right, for intermediate. Advanced is more up here. They come out and they're just able to stick it, and they might have a little bit of a spike at the end there, right? Beginners, they're coming out fairly, sometimes really low. And they're like, oh, okay, second minute, you might see kind of an increase here, and then they might fall out, and then they're kind of here. They're not knowing, what you see here is unsustainable. Right? It's very unsustainable throughout where they're at. Right? And it's typically fairly low, is what you'll see. That's a general statement. But it's very common. I think he's holding. I didn't see that 9 to 10, 9 to 8 because I saw a little bit of it. He's staying at 65. He's coming up on his 7. He's at 65, 66. Often too, what a good thing to do is just come from time to time and watch his face, watch their eyes, watch their breathing, see what they do, see where they're at there, right? Again, beginners, you won't see them working. They don't know how to access the system. Right, they're not breathing. Yep, they might just kind of feel like they're not working. They're just kind of in it, So. That's great. He's doing good. He's got it. So far he's nice and sustainable all the way through. He's sitting right at 65, 64, 65, 66, somewhere in that range. And here he's in that kind of mentally uncomfortable part of the event, right? 6 minutes down to about 3 minutes, very difficult. Those 3 minutes can be very difficult. There's a lot of bees out. I felt like hitting one for a second. They're just mating. Good work, Brady. He's coming up on the halfway. He's working. He's willing to work. He's willing to work. Next group training session as coaches, y'all want to do it together? As an entry into the workout? 5 minutes. He's at the halfway point. He's holding steady, 64, 65. All right, so just kind of take a note. So he's kind of, you know, be mindful of that. He's got 4 minutes left. Good work, Brady. Three and a half. You got 3 minutes to go. Good. 2.5 to go. Two minutes. So if this was his second time I was coaching him, I'd be kind of pushing him a bit here, right? Giving some encouragement, saying, "Hey, really." Yeah. Keep digging in. Keep digging in. Minute and a half. 90 seconds. Yeah. Keep your pace. Keep your pace. Keep your pace. Try not to conserve. All right, coming up, last minute. Last minute. Come on, Brady. Come on, Brady. All right, here we go, Brady. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go, Brady. Come on. Come on. Push in. Dig in. Go ahead. Good. Go ahead and let it hurt a little bit. Go ahead. Rev it up. Rev it up. Let it hurt, Brady. Come on. Let it hurt. Rev it out. Rev it out. 30 seconds. Go ahead. 30 seconds. You can do it. Rev it out. Rev it out. There you go. Rev it. Rev it. Rev it. Rev it. Breathe. Breathe. Keep breathing. Go. Go. Breathe and push. Breathe and push. 10 seconds. Go. Keep it rev. Keep it rev. Keep it rev. Keep it rubbed. Keep it rubbed. Good work. All right. Good work. 153.1. I don't know. 7. He knows now. So he got so his max RPMs there at the end. He got up to 83 and then fell off. Oh, that was at the beginning?
Yeah.
He got up to, I think he got up to 80 there at the end, 79.80. Average is 64. One, and then 351 average watt. Yeah. 153.1. So you can put that in the calculator and see. What do you weigh, Brady? 195.
So you have to make sure that his weight is in here. My body. Weight 190.
Yeah.